Hello, welcome back to Drinking by My Shelf. My name is Emma and today I'm going to be doing my March book gel update. And just to warn you, this month did not go very well at all. I've got with me here some gin and ginger concoction that I just made to ease the pain of how badly I did this month in book gel. I am not getting out of jail anytime soon. If you don't know what I'm talking about with book gel, this is a little challenge that I set myself because I had 71 unread books on my shelf at the start of the year. So I was hoping that by putting myself on a book ban until I read a certain amount of books or hit certain challenges, that I would decrease that number. So far not working because the power's gone from 71 to 81, so the system seems to be flawed, but we're sticking with it. Hopefully it'll sort itself out. Basically what I did is I made this little board for myself with 50 squares on it, and I have to fill all 50 before I'm out of book jail. And there's 7 different ways that I can win squares, and I've put all the details in the description box below so you can read along, but hopefully you'll get the gist as we go along. I'll also put some previous months in the description box if you want to watch a slightly more successful month in action. Okay, so challenge number 1 is just to read books off my TBR, and I get 1 point for every book that I read off my TBR. And this month, in the whole of March, in the whole of March, I managed to read a big, fat 0 books off my TBR. I did read books. I did read some books. I read 2 ancient Greek romance novels called The Ethiopica and Daphnis and Chloe, which are some of the oldest novels in existence. They're these amazing romance adventure stories. I'm writing an essay on them for uni, so I read them in my uni library, and that took up quite a lot of my reading time this month. Then I listened to an audiobook of Behind Her Eyes, which I got through this subscription service that I've been really lucky to have a free trial of. So again, that one didn't come off my TBR, I just listened to it because I was trying out the service. Behind Her Eyes you might have heard of because it got a lot of buzz. There was this hashtag going around, what the fuck that ending, and yeah, I mean what the fuck that ending, but for me, not in a good way. It kind of broke one of my unwritten rules that I hate in books, and I can't tell you what that is without ruining the ending. But you know, a lot of people loved it, so I recommend that you read a few other reviews and try and get a feel of whether you'll like that type of ending. I don't want to give you any clues. And then the last book that I read this month was Cinder by Marissa Meyer, which is the first in the Lunar Chronicles trilogy. This is a retelling of Cinderella, one of the most original premises for a fairy tale retelling that I've ever heard, because it's Cinderella as a cyborg. Because this was a slightly unconventional reading month, what I decided to do is I'm not going to give myself the points for them coming off my TBR, because none of those books were books I already owned at the start of this month, but I'm also not going to give myself the minus points. The only one that I actually bought new, illegally, by my system, was Cinder, but because I bought it for uni, I think I'm going to include it in my dissertation, I decided that I'm not going to give myself the minus 10, but I'm also not going to give myself the point. But so that I don't just have a plain old 0 across the board, if any of these books fill any of the later challenges, I'll get those points. It's still not many, so don't hold your breath for a jailbreak any day soon. Challenge number 2 is Diversity Bingo. This is a challenge that I did not invent. It was created by a few other booktubers, and the aim is just to get you reading more diversely throughout the year. So I thought it was a really nice idea. Here's my board so far. All the squares I've ticked off so far, I get 1 point for every square, and I will get 5 points when I get a bingo. And this month I got, you guessed it, 0. None of the books I read this month fit any of these categories. And before you comment, I did look at some of them for Cinder. I think that Cinder could technically fit some of those boxes, but I decided not to go for it because I didn't think it was really in the spirit of the challenge. But if you thought that Cinder did fill one of those squares for you, then I see where you're coming from. So that's 2 challenges down, no points so far. Challenge number 3 is the Read Harder challenge. This is another one that I did not make up. There's a link in the description box below. Book Riot released a list of categories for people to tick off throughout the year, and I did manage to get one of those. I think it counts. It says read a fantasy book. Cinder is a sci-fi book, but I think sci-fi fantasy is a genre that I so rarely read that this is already stretching me outside my comfort zone into the sci-fi fantasy world. So I think that is in the spirit of the Reading Harder challenge. So that's 1 point. Are you ready? We get 1 point to put on the board. Woohoo! Challenge number 4 is the Throwback Book Club, which again I will link to. This was set up by a group of booktubers, including the author Adam Silvera, and the aim is simple. It's just to read books published before 2017, because it's so easy to get caught up chasing all these new releases and to forget to go back and read some of the amazing books that have been published before. And 3 of my books this month filled that. Obviously the 2 Greek romances were published quite a long time before 2017, and Cinder was published in 2012, so that's 3 points. Challenge number 5 is to take part in the Book Happiness Project, which is this really fun year-long project being run by a group of booktubers and book bloggers. Every month they have a different theme along the lines of happiness in X, Y, and Z, and this month it was happiness in adaptations. And unfortunately, I don't think any of the books that I read are adaptations. Unless Cinder's being made into a movie, it feels like a movie's probably coming of that one, but I haven't heard anything about it yet. So I failed to get any points for the book Happiness Project. Challenge number 6 is to read books in translation, which I did do because the 2 Greek books were obviously originally written in ancient Greek. So that's 2 lovely new points for that. And finally, challenge number 7 is my own challenge, the Get a Hold of Yourself challenge, which I will link to. Anyone's welcome to join in that with me. And basically I just pull out of a hat a new category every month, and I have to read a book from my TBR that fits my challenge. This month I drew the piece of paper that said read the longest book on your TBR, and the longest book on my TBR was House of Leaves, which is a massive, like, 800 fucking pages or something, and I have not even started it. So that's a big fail for that one, 0 points. Which means that my book jail board now looks like this. Ooh, I'm at the screen. I am not breaking out of jail quite yet, but I'm making some slow progress. Am I halfway through? I'm exactly halfway through. However, seeing as my TBR is now 10 books longer than it was when I started this challenge, I think I might need to start introducing some punishments for every challenge that I fail. Let me know if you think that's a good idea, because I need to be a bit strict with myself if I'm actually going to make a dent in this massive TBR that I've got going on. So thanks for watching my book jar wrap up, and let me know what punishments you think I should start facing. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for new videos every Friday. Yes, I'm aware that this is a Saturday, but I promise I'll get back to Fridays soon. See you next time. Bye.